So there's a rumor floating around that a quarterback's coach from a team drafting in the top 7 referred to Shedeur Sanders as coming off as, quote, brash and arrogant in his team interview. So what do we make of this? Because first, I think we need to quantify this with saying this is smokescreen season. We're going to see a lot of headlines where people are trying to muddy the waters. So this could be a team just saying, oh, you want Shedeur Sanders? Well, you shouldn't have him because he's absolutely terrible. But then that'll be the team that goes out and takes Shedeur Sanders. So, Lucy, do you think any of that is at play here?
It certainly could be. This, of course, could be a trick. This could be a maneuver from quarterback's coach, kind of like teasing this, whispering this little rumor that, oh, we met with Shedeur Sanders and he actually is not a player that should be on any team because he is brash and interesting word choice. He is arrogant and brash. Those are two very negative things that maybe a team who is looking for a leader at quarterback is not going to want. So you make him seem unappealing to other teams, and that works in your favor because the team that this quarterback's coach is the coach of was not revealed, so we don't know. This is one of the top prospects in this draft, one of the biggest names, the maybe biggest name nationally perhaps in this draft because he's Deion Sanders' son. And wouldn't you, if you wanted to draft him, deter other teams from drafting him so that you get him in the end by saying that there's some negative qualities about him that he came off in the interview. So maybe, and not revealing who you are. He doesn't know which quarterback's coach he met with that would say this. So I think this could be a tactic. However, you hear this, and if true, if it was confirmed, let's say hypothetically, to be true, would it be that shocking? Not really, because again, this is Deion Sanders' son. He had a childhood that is not one that is, I don't want to say normal. What is a normal childhood? But one that is conventional. Despite one quote, I think it was Josina Anderson was all over this. And so it was some report that despite all of the childhood that he had and being Deion Sanders' son, he reportedly is, pretty normal compared to what you might think, despite that. So I don't know if is it true? Is it not? Is it going to affect where is it a character problem that would affect where he goes at the draft? I think this could be a smokescreen. I think this could be a rumor mill season. And I don't know if it's true or in the end, if it even matters.
I'll say this about confidence and even cockiness for some of these quarterbacks that are projected to go in the first round in the draft, especially if you're a quarterback that's going to go to a bad team. I feel like you almost want a guy to be over the top confident because you're going to be going to a really bad team. You're probably going to be playing behind a bad offensive line. It's probably not going to go well for you. And in fact, most rookie quarterbacks struggle mightily in their first season. You have to have the mental headspace to still believe in yourself, even in those down times. Think about quarterbacks who kind of fit the profile of quote unquote cocky. Who's the first one that comes to mind? Cam Newton. Cam Newton fits this profile to a T. And remember his rookie season. He went to a very bad Carolina Panthers team with a terrible offensive line. But he had an incredible rookie season where he brought something to the offense. It also helps that the guy's an absolute physical freak and he can run all over just about anybody. But it's not like these guys operate in a vacuum where you say, okay, well, this guy's quiet and nice. He's a good pocket passer. No, you need to have some type of bravado, I feel like, to succeed at these bad teams. Like, think about if you go to the Giants, you're not going to have a lot of help. So, Lucy, I feel like some of these reports, even if they are true, I'm fine with it. If Shedeur Sanders is cocky, that's fine. He's going to need a lot of confidence if he's going to believe in himself with some of these teams.
Absolutely. Another example, and this wasn't necessarily a bad team, But Tom Brady, when he joined the Patriots, he said to Robert Kraft, I am the best decision this organization has ever made. That's pretty confident to the point of, is that cocky? Because then you have to follow that up. But that's the balance you strike, where you make a proclamation about how good you are and then follow through on it. So you want your quarterback to believe that they are the best decision this organization. You want every quarterback in this draft to be drafted by your team and say that. You want them to say that. But these reports about Shedeur Sanders, brash and arrogant, I could see, and maybe not just Shedeur Sanders, but the way college athletes are now, they're making a lot of money. They are already celebrities in many cases. Their names are already known. So you say, okay, they go into a room with a quarterback's coach of an NFL team, and they already think, maybe in some cases, they're bigger than the team. Like, I am a celebrity myself. What they say to the team, what can you do for me? It's maybe the attitude of that rather than what can I do for you? And I think NIL deals have changed that a little bit, where they think in some cases, somehow I'm bigger than an NFL team. I already am a celebrity. So it's kind of like I'm just moving teams because the money you make may be on the level of what you're making in the NFL at first. So I feel like maybe there's already a set arrogance there. Maybe not in Shedeur Sanders' case, but he is a player. He's making a lot of money. Though Josina Anderson did say this coach's personal assessment is the direct opposite of how Sanders came across to many reporters in his press conference with the media at the combine. So I don't know, who is more important to impress, the media or the quarterback's coach. But it does seem like, he was cordial, polite, witty, thoughtful, along with being confident, as many athletes are. It feels I would be more on the side of this is a tactic than that he was actually brash and arrogant in an interview with a team. Because wouldn't you think Deion Sanders would kind of say, like, don't act brash and arrogant in an interview with the quarterback's coach because you want to be drafted by a team. So maybe this was a team he doesn't want to be drafted by and he has his team set, and that's maybe he acted like, I am better than you. I don't know if that's the case or if this report is true, but I feel like this is a tactic to deter other teams from drafting him.
I have trouble thinking that Deion, primetime Sanders, would sit there and say, hey, you don't need to be too cocky. Because think of Deion Sanders when he was playing. So I don't know. I think, maybe it's just a one-time thing, because we've got to remember these are still kids. And even as like a full-grown adult, haven't we all had moments where maybe don't say the right thing, or maybe it doesn't come across the right way? And so, like, I just don't think you read in too much to one reaction or one interaction. So I don't know if this is a smokescreen, if it's true at all, but I don't know. I believe in guys that believe in themselves, and I think Shedeur Sanders is that way. And here's the other spin zone. If I was Shedeur Sanders' agent, I feel like I'd be killing it. If you're talking about somebody who's already gone through like some adversity, because as much fame and popularity as Shedeur Sanders has had, he's also had the moments where it feels like the world is against him. Because there's a lot of like haters for Deion Sanders and the Colorado program. So I feel like if you're talking about the spotlight of an NFL team that, you're going to be the head of the franchise for, basically the face of the franchise, I should say, you're going to experience a lot of this. And if somebody's ready for the spotlight, probably Shedeur.
Oh, definitely. And growing up as Deion Sanders' son, he probably is very used to the spotlight. He seems very comfortable in the spotlight. So that wouldn't be an issue, I don't think, to the point of, I think it's more confidence that maybe arrogance. He was driving a Bentley while he was in college. That's a little bit flashy. Maybe that suggests something. Confidence. He's confident in how he appears, confidence. You drive a Bentley around when you're, a junior in college. Interesting move. But for what this means for where he goes in the draft, I don't think this alone, being brash and arrogant in an interview, is going to change where he is drafted. Because you look at the character issues of other players who were projected to be top picks like Johnny Manziel. Those character issues, I feel like, are on a different level than Shedeur Sanders reportedly being brash in an interview. Like, I don't think this is, if a team has already made up their mind about, I want Shedeur Sanders, I don't think this is going to change it. So I think this tactic might just kind of go down like a lead balloon, because I don't know if this is going to change. If the Raiders want Shedeur Sanders or if the Giants want Shedeur Sanders, I don't think this is going to deter them, unless this was the team or this was the quarterbacks coach that had this experience. But I don't think this is going to change how they're going to draft Shedeur Sanders, because this is kind of nothing compared to actual character issues that change where a player is drafted.
Especially when it's relative to the players that are in the draft this year. Like when you look at quarterbacks, it feels like it's Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, and then like a sizable drop off, and then it's Jackson Dart. And then it's another sizable drop off, and then it's like who? Jalen Milroe, maybe. So it just feels like this year it's going to take a lot more than character issues for a team to be talked off Shedeur Sanders. If you're looking at the odds right now, it's not Shedeur that's projected to go first overall over at BetMGM. He is 25-1. So Cam Ward, the overwhelming favorite at minus 325, which is a seismic shift from the last time. I feel like Shedeur Sanders was right up there. Abdul Carter is still 2-1, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but I don't know. The other thing that's interesting about betting on the NFL draft is that we might have some trades. So if you're thinking, okay, who are the Titans going to take first overall? Probably going to be a quarterback, but not so fast, my friends. We have seen little hints and little breadcrumbs that maybe they're going to be trading their pick to the Giants, who also need a quarterback. But I think that's why I stay away from betting on the draft in general, unless I like a really long shot play.
Yeah. And if you do really believe that maybe a trade wouldn't happen, or you are very confident in one guy going first, it's kind of like the coin toss. It's kind of a little bit of instant gratification, because you'll know pretty early if your pick hit. So actually the first overall pick, betting that of all the bets in the draft, I kind of like that one the best, because it's the instant gratification right at the beginning of the draft. They're like, okay, got my guy, got my bet, I'm good. Unless you think it's Cam Ward, and then maybe stay away.
Maybe not always the smartest bet, but you're right. Like my husband loves betting on first basket props in the NBA, which feels like the dumbest bet of all time to me, but he loves it.